This is a career making, business making time for our industry. You could make moves right now that you cannot when the market is just really busy. You are crazy if you think the MLS is useless. The MLS is the lowest cost marketing tool that an agent has at their disposal.
Welcome back to Nevada Realtors Today, your place for timely updates on the news and trends that matter to realtors in the Silver State. Now let's join your Nevada Realtors President, Brandon Roberts, and Nevada Realtors CEO, Tiffany Banks, for today's episode of Nevada Realtors Today.
So some of your listeners may be familiar with a work that we did about 10 years ago called the Danger Report. The Danger Report was a report that our organization assembled. NAR came to us and said, can you produce a risk assessment for the residential industry? And we spent a year and interviewed 50 CEOs in their offices, flew to their offices, spent an hour or two with them. We also did surveys and focus groups with literally thousands of people in the industry and produced the Danger Report. And the Danger Report had all the risks that we thought would impact agents, brokers, associations, MLSs, the industry in general. And it was the most widely read report from our understanding of anything that NAR has ever had anything to do with. And so we produced that. The Opportunity Report is now 10 years later. So about 5 years ago, we went to NAR and said, hey, we want to do an update to the Danger Report. We want to do a Danger Report update and say, what are the dangers now? Where did we get to? And at the time, we were kind of getting into this lawsuit business. So they said, not right now. Don't do it right now. So once the lawsuit was settled, then Stefan and I started talking about we should bring this concept back. And we want to put a different spin on it, though, because the Danger Report was very much about risks to the industry and and things to watch out for. We said, right now we want to look at this more positively. How can we look at what's coming as an opportunity for industry and how we can improve the industry? As they say, don't waste a good crisis, right? And so we decided to do an opportunity report instead. We went out and talked to NAR again. They said, no, we're not interested. We just settled this big lawsuit. We don't want to do any other big reports about the industry right now. And so we found a few other companies and talked to them. And one of them stepped forward and said, yes, we will help you distribute it, make sure it gets a lot of coverage, which is Homes.com. So Homes.com said, we will help you guys distribute the report and make sure that it's quality. And so in about June, we started working on the report and similar format. Stefan Swanepoel, who's my partner, went out and talked to all of these CEOs. We had a whole new set of people to talk to because the industry's changed a lot in 10 years. As you know, Tiffany and Brandon, it's different now. We have different composition at the leadership layer. And we picked people that we thought really had a good handle on what's changing.
Right.
And then we asked them, we said, what are the opportunities right now for real estate professionals, whether you're a broker, an agent, a team leader, if you work in organized real estate, if you're a volunteer, what are the big opportunities for the industry to pursue right now? And so that's what's in the report. We have 20 opportunities. There are 9 for brokers and agents, 9 for what we call organized real estate, MLSs and associations, 1 for state regulatory agencies, and 1 that's kind of for everybody. That's here's opportunity for all of us in the residential brokerage industry. So that's what it is. And I'm glad we've got a little bit of time here to discuss it. The report is free. Your members should go get it today. And they just go to theopportunityreport.com. That'll go over to Real Estate News, which is our media company, and they can download it. It doesn't cost them a dime. And we won't bug you with spammy emails or any junk. Just go get the report and use it in your business. And I'll talk a little bit about how to use it in your business. We've already had thousands and thousands of people download the report. We just released it last week. And we'll be issuing, we have a print copy of the report for those, the first 1,000 people that buy the Swanepoel Trends Report, which is our annual trends publication, will get a print copy as well. And then we're going to make it available. If people want to purchase a print copy, they can as well. But the digital report, I want to emphasize, is free. Your members should just go get it. It's there. It's something we talked to the smartest people in the industry that we could find and all distilled it into one report for the purpose of helping the industry. So that's what it is. I will tell you some kind of high level observations. The people that we spoke to were especially those from the kind of coming from the broker, franchisor, practitioner, team leader, coach space, like the people that are actually more focused on the transaction itself and working with buyers and sellers and what we need to do to improve the industry. I would say that group was um, more optimistic than we expected. I think the group felt that, there's kind of a couple of attitudes. One is, well, we can only go up from here. So it's definitely an attitude. And then there was also a like, hey, this is a time, like this is a career making, business making time for our industry. Because what happens in times like this, where we have a unprecedented settlement that changes our industry practices, historically low transaction unit count compared to, going all the way back to the 80s. And what happens right now is you can make moves right now that you cannot when the market is just really busy, right? And I've been personally writing about it. I wrote about it last year. I call now is a buy low market for everything. If you're a broker and you want to do acquisitions, it's a great time to do acquisitions. If you're licensing technology, it's a great time to do technology purchasing because the vendors are really hungry to sell you something at a great deal. If you're an agent and you build your base of clients now, as the market recovers and you're the maybe the last realtor that they know still standing, like your market share just explodes. And we saw this during the great financial crisis. And I think we're at that time again, coupled with Tiffany, the artificial intelligence revolution, which is impacting broadly all industries and will impact real estate. And that's another one where, was one of the trends. It's one of the opportunities in the report we talk about is that things that used to be really expensive and hard, or you had to hire staff, or you had to do all this kind of stuff, you now have AI tools. If you want to write blog posts, but you're not a writer, great. You can get AI to write it and edit it. If you want to do video and you're not great at video, you can get AI to do video. If you want to do better photography, you could take, mediocre photography, your neighborhoods, listings, whatever, and AI can make it look great. So there's a lot. It's almost like things that you used to have a team, maybe 4 or 5 people to get you to do. You can now do with your computer. Amazing. Amazing. For sure. One of the comments that somebody made, and I think this is very true, is AI will not replace the realtor. By the way, I don't believe the AI will replace the realtor. We've been saying the realtor is going to be replaced by everything for forever. I mean, this industry is scared of its own shadow. We think, the banks are going to replace the realtor. Zillow's going to replace the realtor. All these other things are going to replace the realtor. Well, it's total nonsense. The relationship that a realtor has with their client is very special. And it's something that people want to work with people. As a matter of fact, you look at the statistics our organization studies that says, since the 70s, we put all this information online. We got IDX, we got beautiful websites, we got all this kind of stuff. What has happened with actual realtor utilization by the consumer public? It's gone up. It's gone up, right? So I'm not personally, and for your listeners, I'm not worried for anybody in this industry. But the thing that somebody said as one of our interviews is that agents won't be replaced by artificial intelligence, but agents might be replaced by other agents that use AI, right? So it's more of a like, this is something that you need to embrace and adopt. Whereas I think today, if we thought about, well, could you do real estate without digital signatures in the modern era now? No, everybody uses digital signatures. I think it's going to be the same with AI. And you don't have to be some kind of genius to figure it out. Let the tech people figure that out. And they're just going to start building it. It's going to be in every tool you use. And you're just going to notice one day, like, wow, my tools are really smart at helping me do stuff. Or I'm getting transformational capabilities. I couldn't do that before, but now I can go to you can right now go to artificial intelligence and say, tell me the top questions that people have about these neighborhoods or about these areas. Okay, great. Those are the questions. Now write a little blog post or a video snippet for me to record with an answer for that, some answers, and it'll do that. And I've done this myself personally. I live in a neighborhood. I went and said, what are the top questions? And then I was like, wow, these are really great questions. And all right, what are some of the answers to these questions? And it would create it for me. And then I'd edit it. And I had this incredible marketing material. I can put on my blog, put on my website. I can make a video podcast with it. I can do all kinds of stuff with it. So it's just this is stuff that's at our fingertips, and it's only going to get better. So I think that the thing that I came away from in both reading the report and working with Stefan on it was the broker leaders are, and the teams, agents that we talked to, are very optimistic about what a time like now means for growing their business and building for the future. It's kind of unprecedented. And I've been telling people, we've been coaching our brokers and the teams that we work with, like, don't waste this moment. Like, this is a special moment where if you invest and your competitors don't, if you market and your competitors don't, if you're the person that people begin to think of because you're staying active and you're out there, then all of that's going to accrue to you when as the market comes back and begins to recover. Because fundamentally, people want to buy real estate. That's not changed. We know there's pent up demand right now. It's just a time of uncertainty, and those that act during a time of uncertainty, they gain the benefits. So that was on the broker. That was brokers, agents, teams. Some of the coaches we interviewed, some of the people that talked to a lot of agents. On the organized real estate, the consensus there is that we have some structural work to do. And all this is in the opportunity report. We got 9 different things that from all these leaders. Keep in mind, this isn't T360's opinion. It's not my personal opinion. This is the opinion of 50 really smart people that have been paying attention to this industry for their entire careers. And we distilled this down into the things that need to happen. Some of these things are not, if you're paying attention into the MLS and the association space, are not remarkable, but it is to say very validating to say, like, hey, we have way too many MLSs that don't provide enough value. We have too many associations. We have a lot of overlap in associations where it's not really necessary. We have, in some places, you guys do a great job. I know there's a number of states that do a great job, but there's some places where it's like, hey, I'm not sure what, my local association doesn't do anything for me, or my state association doesn't do anything for me. People are unclear about the value proposition. So that's in there, that a lot of what needs to happen in the association space is being really clear about value proposition and about also letting the MLSs really grow into the data companies they need in order to be competitive. And one question I have been asked a lot is like, well, now that compensation has gone for the MLS, shouldn't they go away? They're useless. Without compensation, the MLS, they're useless. Why do we even have them? And my answer to that is, what are you, crazy? You are crazy if you think the MLS is useless. The MLS is the lowest cost marketing tool that an agent has at their disposal, because it is a subscription service that everybody pays for. It's like the postal service. If you don't have an MLS, in order to think about what you'd have to do to reach all the other realtors in your market without an MLS, or to reach the broadest possible set of buyers that are actively working with an agent. Think about what you'd have to do. Well, you'd have to go buy ads on Google. That's a bid market. So you're bidding against each other for attention. You'd have to go do stuff on Facebook. That's a bid market. You have to build a big email database and email all the realtors in your area and say, hey, I've got a new listing coming on. It's crazy what you'd have to do without the MLS. And that's just the marketing. Like, the fact that I can, as a realtor, I can go log into the MLS, I can put a listing in there, and I can notify every active buyer in my market that is looking for something in that price range. That's incredible. And I'm paying, $50 a month, $100 a month, whatever my subscription fees are, right? Whatever that is. That's incredible. So I tell people, why would we get rid of that? It's an incredible marketing tool for our sellers. We would do what? We would go give it to the portals. We'd go try to generate that traffic ourselves. We'd go maintain a big mailing list of agents to email our listings to. That's crazy. So, and that's not even talking about the value of the MLS from historical sales transaction records, comps, studying the market, understanding what's actually happening. Like, there's so much value there. So I think it's an incredible professional tool. It would be a terrible thing to not have it. And in the opportunity report, we talk about, well, we need to unlock the MLS from association over meddling. Associations meddle too much with the MLS. They use it as a political tool. They use it to carve out territories and try to keep other people from doing stuff. Nah, stop that. Let the MLSs run. Let them grow into the data companies they need to be. Let them merge where you've got a big, strong one that provides a lot of value to their members. Like, that member value, by the way, we've done a study every 2 years on the cost of MLS service and the services provided. And I will tell you, the larger MLSs, they have bulk buying power. They can purchase more services. They have ancillary products they usually include for free. They're a better value. And it doesn't say everybody needs to run a big MLS, but the big MLSs have a lot of value. The ones that struggle, the little MLSs really struggle to provide value, and they charge the most. So again, in the opportunity report, say, hey, we got too many of these, too many of them are too small. We need to unlock them. We need to let them run and provide a lot of value to members. And there's a lot of that we talk about in the association context as well, that there's a lot of small associations that really should just not lose their local identity, but buddy up with a big association so they can provide some real services and value and training and advocacy and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot in that space. The other one we get is, well, shouldn't just NAR go away? Like everybody's like loves to beat up on NAR right now. And by the way, we've been very critical of NAR in our editorial in our own trends report. We wrote a big piece on, like we thought NAR needs to fundamentally. The title of the chapter was NAR needs to fundamentally change or it will fail. Right. So it was very pointed, and we said these are the things that need to change. And all the leaders we talked to believe that NAR does need to change, but none of them said it needs to go away and just poof, nothing. Right. They said national housing advocacy, super important. There's great work that NAR has done in the past. Everything from, all of the financial programs and lending programs to like all the attention to the, what's happening with first time home buyers and advocacy for low cost and more affordable housing. Like we have big work to do in the advocacy space, and all the leaders were aligned around NAR needs to focus on advocacy and helping the homeowner and helping keep that ladder of our wealth building, which is real estate. I mean, real estate is the fundamental tool in the United States for families and individuals to build wealth and to have a sustainable financial future. And we believe all the leaders we talked to are like, NAR has an important mission there. There's some other missions maybe it should drop. There's some other things maybe it doesn't need to do, right? But that one, everyone was aligned on. So that second section, which is all about organized real estate, probably more interesting to those that are listening to this that have been involved in their association or in MLS, or have served on committees. And I'd say, by the way, if you haven't done that, get active with your association. It does bring you into a bigger world. It's also, I'd say, it's great for your career. A lot of people I know that have been very successful as brokers or as team leaders. That little bit of activity gives you a higher status. More people talk to you. You get referrals. Like it's great to be involved at the state and the local level because it just connects you to this entire network of people that care about real estate deeply and are willing to give their time to it. So we're still, in the report, I want to say it was an advocate for change in organized real estate, but it wasn't a like, hey, we just need to all, I think I did an interview with Rob Hahn and Greg that just posted today. And, Rob was like, well, aren't you guys saying burn it all to the ground? And I said, no, this is not what the report says. The report says we've got to make some structural changes in organized real estate in order for it to create the best environment for, the practicing realtor and for the broker member and for the people that Brandon, you and Tiffany serve. Like that's really who it is. And I'm preaching the choir here, but I'm very passionate about it, as you can see. And there's a lot in that report. So there's a lot in there that's both strategic, big picture, but also kind of some tactical in terms of like, and we're going to be doing some additional content materials, and Real Estate News is writing about it. We're going to do a whole in-depth series on this to give people some real, like, here's what to go do now, because we know, that's what people want. They want to know, like, yes, we agree, things need to be better. Okay, what do I do in my business today? I get that. I used to sell real estate, ran a brokerage. I understand all of that. It's important.
Why'd you get out?
So I got out because I loved. So I stopped doing real estate. I love personal question. So thank you for that. So I got out because I'm a novelty junkie and I much more enjoy working on other people's businesses and helping them grow. And that's been a theme in my career since 2005. So I've had consulting clients since 2005. But in 2013, when Stefan and I joined forces to create T360, that was the passion. We said, you know what? We are passionate about this industry. We're passionate about leaders that are building something bigger and that want help and that don't know where to get it. And so we've created a 40-person, little, army that we can bring into, like you say, hey, I need some help redesigning my technology. I want to merge with another company. I want to open up offices in another state. I want to, I need to replace my executive team or, whatever it is. Like we have a team that you can bring in that for the most, our team is all driven from industry people. And I have 5 former CEOs that work for us. Most recently, Nick Bailey, the CEO of Remax, works for us. And so if you've got big work to do in your business, that's what we do. But that's what drove it, was this passion that we had for helping other entrepreneurs and business leaders grow and develop, their businesses, whatever business it is.
But it's hard to believe the danger report's been out for 10 years. I mean, it just seems like just yesterday in doing that. And I remember thinking back, I think one of the big dangers was professionalism in our industry. Um, are there any other dangers that were in that report that maybe are still a danger today?
That's a good question. So, the first part of the opportunity report, we have a fun section, Brandon, which is we asked ChatGPT to analyze the danger report and to analyze of all the dangers we identified, which had actually happened in the market and how accurate were we at saying that that was a danger. The overall report, the overall score was that 83% of the dangers that we listed in that report had happened in some way. So it's 83%. Some of them, and then it went through each danger we had in the report and it scored each individual danger and then cited media sources to say, hey, this is why we say this has happened. Like one of ours was that I think it was titled "A Regulatory Tsunami, impacts real estate." Well, that was 100%. We've had the DOJ and we've had this court case, and it's led to a unprecedented settlement in our industry. So that's regulatory. That's 100% that happened. Another one was that there would be commission compression. That was a significant challenge in the industry. That one gave us like 85%, because if you look at the financials of Anywhere, which they publish their commission rates, we have seen commission compression. They're the only public company that publishes their commission rates broadly, so we use them as a benchmark. And we have seen them come down by, I think, about a half a point, almost 3/4 of a point over the last 10 years. So, and then, so there's many like that where you can go through and say, yeah, this happened, and some of them it says remain to happen. There was one about kind of the realtor being devalued, like just not devalued by the consumer. And now when it said this one hasn't really happened, and it gave us like a 40%. It said the realtor's identity has been impacted. The media, all these negative stories about our industry. And that's what will cause the consumer to disengage, is if that keeps happening. And so we need to be, that's why there's, in the opportunity report, professionalism is a major theme. It continues to be a major theme. It's a theme for brokers. Hey, we need to bring more professional people in the industry. For the associations, we need to have the resources and the certifications and the training and the professionalism from the associations. And even ours was this is the first report where we addressed the state regulators. And we said, hey, the regulators need to improve the licensing rules to create a little bit more challenging, tougher, stricter licensing rules so that we hold people accountable to a higher standard of professionalism, even from the licensing level. I know that's challenging. Some states are less regulatory than others. Interesting enough, I'm in Texas, and I think we require the most mandatory training to get a license of any state. I think it's like 240 hours in order to be licensed here. And then you have to be transactive in order to get a broker's license here. So you can't just go get a broker's license. So even though Texas is very business friendly, very regulatory light, Texas has decided to be, a little heavier there from the regulatory perspective. And I think that leads to a kind of a higher standard of quality. I'm not going to say it's perfect, but higher standard of quality of the average professional comes in. And that's one. So that professionalism thread, absolutely all throughout the report in terms of what's important right now. And I would say as an individual level, Brandon, that I coach people on in our brokerage programs, all that, it's professionalism is a differentiator. So, and it's basic stuff. Like it is responding properly to inquiries. It is sending people like an email that details the work you've done for them or what's happened lately on their transaction on a regular basis, like communicating with your client regularly. When you look at what people complain about, I don't hear from my realtor. I don't know where my transaction is. I don't know what's going on. And that's professionalism. And that's professionalism embodied in communications and professional skills. If you're working with an attorney, my attorney that I work with, I do work with them. I get a report from them. At the end of the month, I get a report. Here's all the stuff we did. Oh, here's your bill. That part's a little uncomfortable. That's the part I like about our industry better. We don't bill you by the hour for the most part. I know some do, but mostly not. But I get that nice report. And I go, wow, that's a professional. My CPA, I get a report. Here's all the stuff I did for your taxes, all that kind of stuff. It's that. And the tools like Ray that we've seen out in the marketplace that help people track all the activities they do for their clients. That professionalism is what people want. And again, woven throughout the opportunity report as an important opportunity.
Yeah, and
So,
we couldn't agree more on all of that. You think about like how you said articulating your value as an agent and a broker, and us like we actually love the word opportunity because the word opportunity means like as as organized real estate and association, we're just geared for growth, right? Like we're able to advocate for on so many different levels, not just for our members, but for the consumer. And so much like I think about every legislative session, and now I've been general counsel here for going on 12 years, and I think about, of course, you have the independent contractor issues that come up, you have the sales tax on services, but the overwhelming majority of what we advocate for is for the consumer to make sure that they can do what they wish with their property. What does that look like? Everything from foreclosures to short sales to construction to property taxes. And so I think it gives us an opportunity to get out there and say, obviously, like we're organized real estate for the member, but look at all the things that we do with the consumer in mind. Without the client, we have no business, right? And also even for tenants, because I think a lot of times it's what do you do for landlords? But without a tenant, a landlord doesn't have a business, a property manager doesn't have a business. And so it gives us the opportunity to get out there and show the consumer why we're so vested in making sure that the home buying experience, the generational wealth is all available to like everyone that wants to achieve that.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Part of one of our company's missions in the media company that we created, Real Estate News, which is distributing this report,
Mhm.
was that we wanted to tell positive stories about real estate.
Hmm.
We wanted to shine a light on practitioners, brokers, people that are advocates for the consumer, people making a difference because of how foundational real estate is the foundation of the American economic system. I mean,
Mhm.
if you participate in real estate and you're on the ladder, whether you're renting, establishing credit, or buying your first home, or moving into maybe investment, right? It is a foundational element of wealth building for most Americans that do build wealth. And so it's
Mhm.
important that everything you just talked about, those are all like that's the core of advocacy and should be the core of what we focus on, because we don't have that. We don't have an industry. We don't have a business, right?
Mhm.
We need to empower the consumer. And
Mhm.
there's no, again, the other question we get asked a lot as a consultancy, well, like does the realtor have value? And there's a lot of buyer's agents running around now. And like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to get paid, or there are all these changes, right? And I know some of you figure this out. There's some that are not. And I would say,
Mhm.
if you feel like you don't have value, then go interview the last 5 people that you helped to buy a home. Take
Mhm.
a lunch and just say, hey, can you tell me about your experience working with me? And
Mhm.
just like, what were the things I did for you, or how did the transaction go? Things like that. If you do that with, half a dozen of your past clients, you'll come to that. You'll feel like $1,000,000, because what I know
Mhm.
is that most buyer's agents do a ton of work for their client and
Mhm.
work to make. I mean, we work to make the client happy with us, to get a transaction done, and maybe we can do a better job of telling the story of all the things we do.
Mhm.
But then our clients don't know all the stuff that we do, or they forget. They forget. Like I forget. I forget when I talk to any professional. I can talk to my attorney 2 months ago. I don't remember what he did for me 2 months ago. So I might need,
Mhm.
as a professional, we might need to remind people of all the things that we did,
Right.
right? And do a better job. And that's the other thing I tell people: keep track of what you do for your clients. And as soon as you
Mhm.
start doing that, if you didn't think you have value, and you start keeping track of all the things you do for your clients,
Mhm.
you'll recognize the value, and
Right.
it'll make you a better negotiator, because you'll go,
Mhm.
I do a lot for my clients. So
Mhm.
if you have that, and if you, I don't know, and my thing I've said is like, maybe you grew up in a home where you didn't get praised enough, and you don't feel like you're a valuable, useful human being. If that's the case, go get some therapy, because it's a psychological issue.
Some people need to be reminded, though, from time
Yeah,
to time.
yeah, from time to time. It's like you do, and that's what I see in this industry has a lot of people in it that all they want to do is serve their friends and their family and their clients. That's all they want to do. They just want to make them happy. And there's
Right.
no, you should feel like that's not worth what you charge.
Absolutely.
It
And when
is.
you think about value, I had the privilege of attending the CEO Connect T360 event last last April in Arizona, and I gained so many great new connections. I thought the conversations that were had were so valuable. I really, really, really enjoyed it. I thought that I've been to every kind of conference and every type of event in the last 12 years, but that
Yeah.
definitely stood out to me as
Thank you.
just very well orchestrated, well thought out. And so I just want to give you like major props on that because it was an excellent 10 out of 10 experience for me.
Well, thank you. That was unprompted, so thank you for saying that. That we've been working on that conference for a decade.
Mhm.
Being a very mature, like we put a lot of effort into that work. It's especially gratifying because the program design. I mean, it takes 6 months to build that conference, and it's a lot of work. So it's gratifying. And those of you listening in, if you've not participated in a T360 event, learn a little bit more about us. We've got some great. We have a tech summit we do in the fall. We just had it in New Orleans. Great event. We're doing a broker workshop actually in Scottsdale in February. It's for brokers and larger sales teams. We're going to cover some topics in the opportunity report. Our workshops are fantastic. We just do. That's where we can get hands on with people, really help them with their business. So this wasn't intended as it's not intended as a promotional podcast, but I'm saying, I think we do good work there, and I appreciate you saying that. And
Yeah.
I invite your members to engage with us. We've got a lot
Yeah.
of fun.
I would add on to that. I've been to your T360 Tech Summit, and I tell you, that's one of the best summits I've been to as well. So I really appreciate all of the stuff that you guys are doing. I mean, even the real estate news, being real news and not drama driven. Everything you're doing is standing out and helping our industry. So I know it wasn't meant for that, but it can't go without being said.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, and that means a lot coming from you guys. And I know people have many choices in how they do their business, and to work with us, that is the highest compliment for me, and that's what supercharged me about doing consulting work and helping other.
Yeah.
It is why I get out of bed every day.
That was our next question. What motivates Jack Miller to get out of bed every day?
Well, so what I'm excited about, I will tell you what I'm excited about right now.
Okay.
So next week, I don't know when this podcast will be released, but next week, every year, we rank the top 200 industry leaders. As you know, we publish that in our Real Estate Almanac. And so we lock ourselves in a room for 2 days. And it's our key members of our consulting team. And over the last 2 months, we've been soliciting nominations and finding out who are some industry leaders that we should pay attention to. And we spend a ton of time, but this full 2 days debating that, like who we think is actually having the biggest impact on real estate. And it is the most fun exercise. And the reason I get out of bed every day is that to get to work with some of those leaders and to see people that are building organizations and investing in their agents and investing in their team and creating a new standard for the real estate industry. And so in general, it's the enthusiasm that I see from those other industry leaders. I also think I recognize the time that we're in. We're in so we had in the 70s was the beginning of the PC revolution, the digital revolution, where computing power became just a normal part of life, right? And then we really had the mobile revolution happen in the late 90s, where not everybody used to have a mobile phone, and then we added a mobile phone. And then, in 2007, the iPhone came out, and then it was like another mini revolution of like capability. And we had the internet happen in the early 90s. So I've seen these moments of like significant revolution around an underlying technological change. So I recognize we're in that moment right now with artificial intelligence. We're also in a massive moment of transition between the boomer generation and, Gen X, which is me, and, Gen Y, Z, and everybody that's coming after. So there's a massive transition. So we're seeing like and then where the economy is right now in terms of, I think the market as the economy rebuilds is going to explode. I think people want to buy homes. We have people are building new kinds of homes. There's a massive focus on affordable housing right now. So we're at the beginning of something really, really different, where we're having these different technological, demographic, and housing industry changes all happening at the same time. And that's why we put together the opportunity report, because this is a special moment. in time. And I would just encourage everybody, go download the report and then make 2025 like that should be a landmark. You should put a line in the sand and say, this is gonna be a landmark year for me, and I'm gonna make a big move next year. And that's what all of our clients were saying. Plan for a big move in 2025, whatever it is. You open another office, you acquire a company, you start a new marketing program, you focus on a new neighborhood, you go after a new demographic, you hire an assistant. For some agents, they need to hire an assistant, just to get more productive. You team up with somebody that you really like how they do business and you think you work well together. Make a big move in 2025 because now it's the time where those big moves will be amplified by all of the change that's about to happen and all the things that are being done right now. So I'm like a lot of the leaders that contributed to that report. I'm very opportunistic. I'm just saying, don't miss the moment. And that's what's getting me up every day.
I think you can feel the energy behind all of that. And I think that, you're exactly right. I think, Brandon and I, like so many conversations and with our leadership team that we've had over like the momentum that we have right now. And sometimes it's scary to kind of look at everything from a fresh perspective or break things down the same way they've always been done and kind of push the limits on certain things. But now's the time to do those things. It's okay, obviously, to keep, that institutional knowledge of what's gotten us to where we, like we don't want to make the same mistakes, but at the same time, let's get a new perspective. Let's look at things with fresh eyes and try things. Like we're big advocates of let's try it. If it works, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But at least we've tried to like move our industry forward in some regard. That's not just showing up and doing the same thing the same way that it's always been done.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. You also have the benefit of times like these is if you make big changes, nobody's going to hold it against you. They're like, yeah, that was the time when you make a big change. We got some of our broker clients who are like, you know what? You need to throw out the rule book and write a new one for yourself. Because what you're doing is not working. If you look at broker profitability, which is one of the challenges. The Danger Report 10 years ago was broker profitability. Boy, we're seeing it now. We did a big study, and 40% of the brokers that were in this, we studied 100 companies, and 40% of them were unprofitable, and that can't hold. That's then the others that were profitable. Some of them were not very profitable; they were just barely there. So that's a one where it's like, if you've got permission to redesign your comp model, your services, your value, how you deliver things, now is the time. No one's going to be critical of it. They're going to go, great. Yeah, that was the right time to make changes. So I just say, it is a time for that. And I'm glad to hear you guys have been, embracing that and bringing that fresh thinking in. It's so important. So
we may get some pushback, but it's one of those things that again, you just live and learn, and at least you could say you tried it, and if it works, then you feel great about it. A great decision, great timing. So what are you most looking forward to in this next year? Personally or professionally?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we've been building our organization for a decade, and I feel like professionally, we are ready to engage with the industry, with many more people in the industry. And so we've rebuilt all of our programs and just scale better. So we can work with more brokers, more teams, more people coming to our conferences and events. So we're investing too. I'm telling you the same things that I say are in the report and everybody else should do. We've been doing the same thing. So we've been investing. And we invested in real estate news, and we're creating new products and services to serve the industry better. So what I'm excited about for next year is to put that in front of more people in the industry. And, hey, these are some new ways that you can get help that maybe you didn't think you could get help before. It's like, if you had 5 to 10 hours a week of an expert in brokerage operations to help you redesign your brokerage, would that help you? And a lot of brokers say, yeah, that would really help me. Well, we have people for that. If you had the expertise of 3 different real estate industry CTOs to redesign your technology for your team, or bring it, or if you're a technology vendor to help you build a better product, would that make a difference? And the answer is yes. Like, it will make a difference for people, but I'm excited to put that in front of more people in a way that makes it more accessible. So that's what professionally, that's what I'm excited for. Personally, I'm excited to get that off of my plate and then have some other things I can focus on, because I other things I'm bringing in some staff. It's going to free me up to focus on what I like to do, which is like this, like speaking with you guys and being out with the industry. I've been doing a lot more speaking lately, and that's very energizing. So I want to do that, and but that's there's lots of other personal stuff I'm excited about that's here or there for your subscribers. But I would just say we're in the same opportunity with everybody else this moment, and that's what's getting me out of bed every day, and that's what I'm excited for next year, is seeing what our company can do with that opportunity with the industry and really work with the practitioners in it.
Well, think about ways that we can partner up. Obviously, like we'd love to be supportive of you and what you're doing. And that's, again, a lot of exactly the same conversations that we're having of how can we collaborate? How can we, like work with others that we haven't necessarily had time or resources or energy to work with before, but make that a priority, because relationship building in our business is everything. So what can we do? So think about that.
I've got some ideas. I got some ideas for you. I'm not going to.
Okay, good.
I got some ideas for you guys.
We're excited. We'd love to brainstorm on that stuff. And again, that's where I think the direction our leadership's going, of like, how do we collaborate? How do we partner? And how do we make our industry the best that it can be? So we're here for that.
Fantastic. Love it.
Thanks. So what does it look like a brokerage working with you? I mean, is it like coaching? Is it just consultative? I mean, what does that look like?
So that's a great question. So we have different levels of engagement that people can work with us on. So we do have a what we think of as a group program that we call our insider insider level 1 or silver program, and that is we do 2 masterminds a year. We do some workshops, and it's very affordable. It's not an expensive program, and you can get to meet other like-minded brokers, and you get access to a lot of our materials. We built a program a decade ago called T3 Fellows, which is like an MBA program for brokers. And what we've uncovered is people want to access parts of that program. Like, we have a great module on analyzing your business. We've got a great module on your competitive advantages and how to build them. And so in that group program, you get access to a set of masterminds that you can participate in, some in-person events that we invite that are those kind of small group workshops that I talked about, as well as this materials and data and all this data that we have about brokerage operations and profitability and expenses and staffing and technology. You get exposed to this entire ecosystem of knowledge that you can take use of. So the group program is very good. And then usually what happens is people go, well, I need to do a project. I want to make a big change in my business. And then that's where we move them up to our gold level. And at gold level, what we'll do is we'll pick a project that is very high impact in your business, and we'll do it with you. Like, we'll work with you. We'll apply our team's resources, and that can be replacing some of your technology. It can be hiring. Maybe you need to hire an executive for your company or manager. It can be a lot of different things. It can be helping you with an acquisition. It can be so many different things. But usually people, they have 1 or 2 real big projects that they need to do every year to really improve their business. And in the gold level, you can get help with that directly with resources from our team. And we can just be applied directly to your business. And then we have a level above that, which is really for larger companies or people that want to do multiple projects. And the good thing is we price it in such a way. The thing that I know that brokers struggle with, and I struggle with as a broker as well, is like, you don't want to get these big surprise bills from any of your service vendors or providers. You don't want to be like, oh my gosh, like my attorney just sent me a $15,000 bill, like to write a big check, or I have this big unexpected thing. So what we do is we talk to you about your projects. We say, let's design your projects, and then we just put it on a payment program, and just say, look, we're on a retainer, but we're going to do these 1 or 2 big projects for you next year. So we make it easy for budgeting and easier for actually moving forward with that project. So we're not worried about getting some big surprise bill, or and we don't work by the hour. We work by the success of the project. So we'll say we're going to apply whatever resources we need to in order to get your project through to success. So that's how we work. We just don't bill by the hour. Don't believe in it. I don't I don't call my attorney because I know I'm going to get a $500 bill. We don't go in all. What we believe in is, if you're one of our clients, you can call us and we'll just talk to you, and we'll just help you as much as we can. If we go, you know what, we need to put you into a project, or you have some specific work, and then we'll propose it, and then we'll build it into a monthly program. And then you get access to our events, you get access to all of our materials and content, the additional data that we have, our trends report, our almanac, and all the data that underlies. That's one of the cool things. You can get data that underlies it. And that's one we've got some brokers come to us that said, hey, how have I been doing over the last 5 years? Can you give me a 5 year, like my per person productivity? How do I compare versus other companies that are similar size as me? And we can help you do that analysis and even build some recruiting materials or some materials you can use in your consumer presentations. And that's because we have all this data and we're just eager to use it with brokers that say, what can I do to show competitive advantage? And we're starting to do some of that with teams. We did the teams report we released with Real Scout and Tom Ferry just about 4 weeks ago. We're starting to study team productivity and performance. We've worked with some big sales teams before, but we now have a lot better data. We have about 700 teams engaged with that report or with that data gathering. So we've got really good like financial data, operational data, expense data, lead generation data, lead conversion data, all that kind of stuff to help you benchmark your team. And we've additionally worked with about 70 teams the last 2 years, really in depth, who are really doing a lot of lead generation, a lot of, they real focused on that area. So we've got some resources for people to run teams as well. But the big takeaway is we have levels. You can engage with us very inexpensively and just kind of get to know us a little bit, get to know the other brokers and teams in our program, get access to our events, come to the tech summit, come to our leadership summit. And then you can decide you want to do a project with us. And we make it it's very straightforward. We say, look, here's a project you need. We put it on a schedule and we, create a payment program that doesn't mean you get some surprise bill that you weren't expecting, which is just hate that. So
I think that all that sounds fantastic. Brandon, you don't have to take notes because you can go back and listen to this later, but I don't know why brokers right now would not invest in something like that, right? Like sometimes you need an outside perspective of what can I do better and more efficiently. And I think that all that sounds like an incredible way in and a way to scale up.
Yeah. And we have so many examples of that where it's like, oh, we came in and I'm not going to name these companies, but these are big companies that came in. We've redesigned their entire listing workflow. We've redesigned how they do their recruiting and how they do their onboarding. We've come in and looked at their operations and their staff, and we've restructured their staff and maybe said, hey, you don't need as many on-site support staff, and we can leverage some offshore resources or some other resources to do this. So we've done some major restructuring with brand names and companies that everybody would recognize. And the cool thing is seeing the results, is seeing like how much it changes their bottom line. They're more efficient, competitive. They have better services for their agents. Added lead generation, or now generating a lot more company-controlled business, which is for brokers is a big deal. It's not an easy thing for brokers to do that kind of lead generation thing without some help. But yeah, the examples are from our clients. That's where I get really excited. So that's why I said that's why I'm excited for next year. I want to bring that to more people.
Yeah.
We've got programs to do it. I think we finally got a deep and broad staff to support a larger number of clients, and we're ready to go. We're ready to grow with our clients, and we want to see people climb that 200 list that we do every year. I mean, I'm so excited. We can take somebody and get their brokerage onto our top 1,000 list and get them into the top 200 leaders.
Yeah,
that's success. That's success.
Yes, exactly.
That's
exactly. Lifting others. Brandon, do you have a final question for Jack before we sign off?
I would ask, I listened to, I got the opportunity to hear William Swanepoel speak quite a few years ago, but how was it to work with him?
So I've worked with a few like legitimate geniuses in my career, like people who are legitimately they're just real smart, like really smart. And Stefan is he's an incredible business partner. And I mean this, I've been married, it'll be 24 years next year. And finding a great business partner is a lot like finding a great spouse, where you have to go through some things together. You have to go through, tough times, good times. You have to go through all that kind of thing. And I can't imagine a better partner than Stefan for me. Like he is, we're both willing to challenge each other's thinking. He's very direct, which I appreciate. Not everybody can handle that. He comes from a little different culture. He kind of really grew up in South Africa, and they have a very direct business culture. But it's actually a sign of respect when he tells you, like, hey, this does not work. Like it's a sign. It means that he understands that you're able to handle it. And so we have a very positive relationship where we can tell each other what we think needs to happen in the business to make it work. And we'll also say, I transitioned to be the CEO 2 years ago. It'll be 3 years I think next May. And I've seen that was my biggest nervousness as a Gen Xer looking to work with somebody and mentor with them, and then eventually run the business. And he did an incredible job of that transfer. We actually have a trends report chapter about succession and how to do it properly that we wrote in this year's report. That was really inspired by the things that he did very deliberately, very on purpose. It takes a lot of emotional discipline to do succession well, and it's hard, like most companies don't have good succession plans, and it can be very challenging. And if you're transitioning it to, like, you're a parent, you're transitioning the business to your child. I mean, you remember everything that kid ever did wrong, right? Everything they ever did wrong, and you're putting the most valuable asset you've ever built in the world into their hands, right? And so that's emotional. So there's a lot of emotional resilience that he displayed in terms of how he transitioned to me, and the work he put in to me and to the organization, and helping me build an organization that was ready for that transition. And it's been fantastic. And so he's moved to the chairman of the board. He's our consultant on our business. He gets to work on projects he usually works on one or two things a year for us that are kind of big and that he's really interested in doing. But fundamentally, we work together in a partnership where he plays that role of chairman very, very well, and just did the transition well. So I love it. It challenges me to grow and develop as a thinker and as a leader. I have some things that are different. I mean, I'm a different person. I'm not the same as Stefan. What I've learned: never try to be somebody else's greatness. You have to be your own. And he has his own greatness. He's an incredible speaker, thinker. He brings kind of a different perspective, having come from overseas. I bring my own, and that's really my leadership journey right now, is exploring how to bring the wisdom I've gained in other ways into our business and into the practice that we do. And I'd say my focus is really on relationships. It is on building and developing long-term relationships with our clients and getting to know them more in depth, and doing the things outside of the business context where you get to understand why people are motivated to pour all their energy into their business, and what gets them up in the morning, and why they get excited, and what their weaknesses are, and where you could help them. Right. And so that's what I'm motivated about. It's a little bit more both the spiritual discipline I come from, and the things that I've gained in my own wisdom. And Stefan's been a partner in all of that. He's been a partner in helping me build my own leadership to be confident to provide that to our clients and to the company.
Well, I'm sure you're making Stefan very proud, and the future is bright. And we're just so grateful that you took the time to join us today. So thank you so much, Jack, and we'll be seeing you at one of your events very soon.
It's been such a pleasure spending some time with you guys, and I wish everybody at Nevada Realtors all the best. And reach out to us anytime, or to me personally, if there's anything we can do for you. We'd love to help.
Thank you so much.